Tonight we want to welcome back Roger Stone. Roger Stone, he was with us on September 17th. And on September 17th last year, he was with us under the threat of indictment. And he stated here in our meeting on September 17th, "I will never roll on Donald Trump." The president tweeted, "It's nice to know some people still have guts." At the time, it was speculated that he would be indicted by the special counsel, and sure enough, a few months later, he was quietly arrested. Oh, you're laughing, huh? Yeah, you know, you remember, very fake news. CNN was quietly tipped off about a made-for-the-movies pre-dawn raid involving over 40 law enforcement, with many of them in full tactical gear and automatic weapons. All this show of force to arrest a non-violent individual who doesn't even own a gun. Roger, why was it so over the top? Oh, you probably can't answer that question, right? They treated you as if you were a drug kingpin or a mass murderer. In any other case of any similarity, a phone call would have been made to your attorney and arrangements would have been made for you to turn yourself in voluntarily. Even when they arrested that creepy porn star guy, you know, that attorney there, they discreetly put a trench coat on him, pulled him aside, and handcuffed him under the coat. They treated him properly, the way that Roger Stone should have been treated as well. But Robert Mueller and his merry band of 17 conflicted Democrat donors who made up his team orchestrated a vicious, over-the-top, vindictive raid on Roger Stone to make it seem like his arrest was a big deal in their investigation in search of a crime, which they never found. We all know it was really an attempt at intimidating an innocent person into fabricating information that they could use against the president. I probably should put a disclaimer so Judge What's-Her-Face doesn't think you're using me to violate your gag order, Roger. I solemnly swear I researched everything on my computer today by using Google in my office. Now, one of the things that I learned about Google in this research today is it was just released, the information today, that Google has also been recently subpoenaed for the timing of when Roger Stone uploaded YouTube videos regarding WikiLeaks. But listen, if you guys don't mind, Roger, if you don't mind, I want to help Robert Mueller out a little bit, okay? Dear Mr. Mueller, it's time for you to just recognize that Roger Stone, a political operative for over 40 years, is damn good at what he does. And being good at what he does allows him, like anybody else in any other industry, to evaluate current information, and from that information, he can make educated guesses, again, based upon that 40-plus year of experience in that field as to what might come next. As you can imagine, it's very expensive to fight the unlimited purse of the federal government. I encourage each of you to support Roger by making a donation to his defense fund. His website is stonedefensefund.com. And as I said, tonight he will have books and merchandise available. Club 45, give a warm welcome to a damn good political operative, Roger Stone.
That was a hell of an introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, Roger Stone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joe. With me tonight is my wife, Nidia, who is my rock, my soulmate, and without whose help I could not possibly go through the travails ahead. Nidia, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
My name is not Jussie Smollett. I'm delighted to see the way the Trump 45 Club has grown exponentially since the last time I was with you. The thanks go to you, not the Republican Party, but to the indigenous grassroots movement led by Donald Trump to pull off the most improbable victory in American political history to make America great again. I want to thank Joe Budd. I want to thank Larry and Sue Snowden. I want to thank Linda Stutch for having me here tonight. It is an enormous pleasure and honor for me and a great opportunity to say what I can say today. I think you have seen the results of electing a non-establishment president. I recognized as early as 1988 that Donald Trump had the size and the courage and the independence and the audacity to be a great American president. I wanted him to run in 2000. I wanted him to run in 2012. In retrospect, I now recognize that the timing was not right on any of those occasions. But 2016 was that unique time in American history when he was the right man in the right place at the right time to save this country from the path of destruction that we were on. The two-party duopoly, the elites of both the Republican and Democratic Party, had left a legacy of endless foreign war where our inherent national interests were not clear. The erosion of our civil liberties, where metadata was being collected on every American, monitoring your emails, your phone calls, your text messages. Immigration policies that left our neighborhoods and streets unsafe, that cheated the people who were waiting in line to come here legally and rewarded the people who came here illegally. A stagnant economy with an anemic comeback under President Obama, in which children had to move back in with their parents to live in the basement or live in a guest room because there were no jobs. Now contrast that with the dynamic results we have today. Over 6 million new jobs created by Donald J. Trump. 650,000 new manufacturing jobs. Yes, those are the jobs that President Obama told us were never coming back. Do you have a magic wand, he asked Mr. Trump, candidate Trump? No. Cutting taxes and cutting regulations stimulates growth and created 650 manufacturing jobs. We see a constant struggle by our president to seal our southern border. First, CNN told us there was no crisis. Now they tell us the crisis is done. I don't get my news from CNN for the same reason I don't eat out of the toilet. Over 1 million illegals this month. The president understands if you don't have borders, you don't have a country. And he has worked valiantly to seal our border and to help reform our immigration policies so that people who want to come here for the promise of America can do so legally. This is a signature battle. This is the epitome of the Trump presidency, his fighting to seal our border. God bless you, Mr. President. Remember the Iran deal? How about the hundreds of millions of dollars they didn't tell us about that was being delivered on pallets of cash to bribe Iranian politicians? A lousy deal for America, cashed in over the advice of all the political elites by President Donald Trump, who says, no longer will the United States be the patsy for the world. Now, I look at the Democratic candidates for president. When I see the Iowa poll, which is a respected poll, recognizing that it's very difficult to determine who is actually going to vote in the caucuses, and to their credit, their methodology, I think, was very solid. It had former Vice President Joe Biden first with 24%, Senator Bernie Sanders second with 17%, and no other candidate cracking double digits. I would notice that Mayor Bill de Blasio was at 0. And Congressman Eric Swalwell was also at 0. Let me be very clear, 24 is not strong. When you've been the sitting Vice President of the United States for 8 years, 24% of the vote is a mark of weakness, not a mark of strength. If you look at George Bush's strength after 2 terms under Ronald Reagan, or Richard Nixon's strength after 2 terms under Dwight Eisenhower, or even Walter Mondale's strength after 1 term under Jimmy Carter, a sitting vice president should be stronger than Joe Biden. Perhaps that's because Joe Biden seems to have no self-awareness whatsoever. He does not seem to understand that he comes across as a pompous, loudmouthed blowhard with nothing to say, which is good because he has so much Botox he can barely talk. On a serious note, Vice President Biden is personally responsible because he penned the legislation that turbocharged the failed, racist, expensive war on drugs. It is because of Vice President Biden that record numbers of young African Americans have been incarcerated for the first time, nonviolent crime of possession of small amounts of drugs. At the time, he used to call it the Biden bill. This is the bill by which Bill and Hillary said that black people needed to be brought to heel. And who is it who has signed sentencing reform to give people in this position a second chance? Why, that would be President Donald Trump. This is a comparison that I would relish. I don't think Joe Biden can string together a coherent sentence. I don't know that the Democratic field is complete. I don't know that given the volatility of our politics, in truth, any of those candidates has some prospect of being nominated, given the inherent weakness of the 2, perhaps 3 frontrunners, those being Vice President Biden, Senator Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren, who should correctly be called Focahontas, F-A-U-X, It is absolutely true that the socialist wing of the Democratic Party is on the upswing, and that is why Senator Sanders cannot be underestimated. He has the advantage of having run once before. He has the advantage of having a ready-made organization in every state. He has the advantage of having a very good list of previous donors and previous volunteers. Don't count Senator Sanders out, but it's anybody's race. I don't care who the Democratic candidate is. I think President Donald Trump is extraordinarily well positioned for re-election. There are three storm clouds on the horizon that have to be noted. First and foremost is overconfidence. The overconfidence of everyone in this room. The overconfidence of Trump supporters across the nation. Make no mistake about it, this will be a difficult and hard-fought race. Not because of any failure in the president's record, but because of a relentless attack on the president by a mainstream media that will give him no credit for his great accomplishments, but will nitpick him on every major item. When he's polite to the Queen, which is the way it's done, they speculate, well, that must mean that he wants to be a king. Please. The next major storm cloud is the issue of internet censorship. 2016 was the year in which the mainstream media, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, and to a lesser degree Fox, lost their monopoly on the political discourse in America. Only through the rise of a vibrant, robust alternative media based in the internet was Donald Trump able to win, because it gave him a platform for him to mount his counterattack, and Donald Trump is the greatest counterpuncher in American political history. I sat in the U.S. House Judiciary Committee meetings when I heard Chairman Jerry Nadler say that the charges of conservative censorship by Google and others were a right-wing conspiracy theory. To the contrary, we have seen the leaked memos, we have seen the leaked videos, and we've experienced firsthand the deplatforming of conservative voices, libertarian voices, Republican voices, pro-Trump voices, in fact, all non-liberal voices. And millions of people, millions of supporters of this president have been deplatformed. In essence, they are taking away the president's megaphone. We cannot let monopoly control of coverage of the 2020 campaign revert back to the old fake news media. Donald Trump is a man of enormous courage, and enormous fortitude, and enormous stamina. And he will never let this country down, nor will he ever quit in his efforts to make America great again. And I'm excited that he chose our home state of Florida to launch his re-election campaign. Now, let me address in a careful way my own personal situation. As Joe Budd said, I had no advance notice of his introduction. I had no input in it. He did not speak at my direction or at my behest. He is responsible for his own words. I am under an order of the court not to discuss the specifics of my case, and I will not do so tonight. Here's what I can tell you. I have pled not guilty, and I will be vindicated on every single count. I have vowed a vigorous legal defense, and I will mount one. But the cost of doing so is astronomical. It's in excess of $2 million. Now, I would gladly put up the $2 million myself, but the relentless attacks of the fake news media over 2 years has rendered me close to bankrupt. I have lost my home, I've lost my savings, I've lost most of my insurance, I have sold my car, and I do everything I can to raise the money to finance my legal defense. And despite both the legal and financial pressure, I will not fold, I will not yield, I will not change my plea, and I will fight for vindication. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I have put myself in God's hands. I am convinced that God has presented me these challenges to do His will, whatever that may be. And it is God who sustains me in the epic fight ahead. Now, those of you who watched me being taken into custody, thanks to CNN, know that when I was arrested, I was wearing a Roger Stone Did Nothing Wrong t-shirt. These t-shirts are going to end up in the Smithsonian Institute. In the back, you can purchase a Roger Stone Did Nothing Wrong t-shirt. You can also purchase a hat with the same slogan, knowing that these sales go to help my wife and I in our struggle to eat, to pay for gasoline, to pay for medical care. Yes, we need your help. There is also a gentleman who has a square. If you want to use your credit card and you want to give to stonedefensefund.com, look for Jalen Martin, a very handsome and well-dressed African-American gentleman at the book table, and he can help you in processing a contribution. God will bless you for it. 40,000 Americans have now contributed to my legal defense fund. Now I want to tell you about this. This is a Roger Stone. It's a stone. The prototype was taken from my neighbor's driveway. Of course, that was replaced, to which I have signed my name. Thus, it is a Roger Stone. We sell it as a paperweight. And in all honesty, we weren't selling very many of them until Rolling Stone and the Huffington Post and the Observer and other left-wing fake news media outlets made fun of me. Now I can't sign enough of them. You can also get your Roger Stone in the back afterwards. Additionally, we have copies of my most recent book, Stone's Rules, which is kind of like Sun Tzu's The Art of War or Machiavelli's The Prince. These are the things I've learned in a 50-year career in American politics. Although it doesn't matter whether you're in tech or fashion or entertainment or agriculture for that matter. These are the lessons in life that are applicable in any business. It is not really a political book, but that doesn't stop Facebook from rejecting all of my ads that I propose because it has inappropriate content. Now, some of you probably have heard that I have a tattoo of Richard Nixon on my back. And it's true. It's about the size of a grapefruit. It's a floating head right between my shoulder blades, which means I'm the only person you know with a dick on the front and the back. That's about as risque as I get. I apologize. And for me, the tattoo is not a political statement. It's a reminder that in life, when you get knocked down, when you suffer defeats, when you are disappointed and dejected, when you reach for something and you strive again and again, but it eludes you, and you're ready to give up, that is the time to get up off the canvas, dust yourself off, and get back in the game. To me, it is a sign of persistence, of resilience. A man is not finished when he is defeated, President Nixon wrote. He is only finished when he quits. I will never quit. Only when one has been in the deepest valley can one appreciate the majesty of the highest mountain. Or as Vince Lombardi said, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up. I thank you for your hospitality tonight. I thank the millions of people who are praying for me and my family. If I didn't mention it, you can go to stonedefensefund.com to help us out, as 40,000 Americans have done. I am very, very pleased to be with you. I will be in the back of the room to pose for pictures, to sign books, to sign stones, and to thank you each personally. Thank you, and God bless you.